set up the initial MSP module, which includes device monitoring, patch management, and alerting. When you first sign up to a BluetraitIO site, you will get your own domain name that has your specific company and all your devices stored under that domain. So the first step is to run through the initial setup wizard. This sets up some of the initial configuration options. So you can pick your time zone and the currency symbol. Then you can create a new user. Now by default, the trial account includes one user, and so we can skip this step, but in future, if you want, you can create additional users. Next, we can pick the modules to enable. So articles is a knowledge base system, good for storing documentation. Billing includes products, quotes, orders, purchase orders, and you can do subscription billing through that. Bitdefender is an antivirus product, and this allows you to integrate into Bitdefender Gravity Zone. So this will allow BlueTrait to automatically install Bitdefender on agents that you select, and also to alert you of any threats that it detects. CRM is a base module that includes project management, the companies, and there's a newsletter feature as well. We recommend that you enable this module even if you're not going to use all the features, because it does let you group all your agents by company. eWay is an Australian-based credit card payment gateway. This is so that you can get customers to pay via credit card online. We are also about to introduce a Stripe module as well. MSP RMM, this is what we will be primarily covering today, which is the RMM component of the system. Passwords is our password management and storage module. Reports includes a range of reports across the entire system, so this one's a nice one to have. Timesheets is good for tracking time against tickets and projects and billing your customers on the hours you've done. It also has leave requests and expenses, so it's a great tool for assisting managing with your employees. We then have WebRoot integration, which is similar to Bitdefender. It's a different antivirus product as well. So that one is also good if you've got clients with WebRoot. And finally, we have Xero, which allows you to push invoices up to Xero. So if you use Xero, this allows you to sync those invoices to Xero. And it will also, if the invoice is marked as paid in Xero, update BlueTrait as well. So I'll just click Save Settings, and that'll apply the initial setup. So before you continue, the first thing that we recommend is for you to turn on two-factor authentication. So to do that, click your name in the top right, and then click Profile. Then click Configure Two-Factor Authentication. Now we recommend the Microsoft Authenticator application, but you can use any two-factor authentication system that you want. So all you need to do is scan the QR code with your phone, and then enter in the two-factor code, and then hit Enable. And now it is enabled. So next time that you sign in, your account will require you to fill out the two-factor authentication code. You can set it to remember your browser as well, so that you don't need to type in the code every time, so that can be useful. And if, for example, there are any issues, you can click Forget All Browsers, which will make a two-factor sign-in required for the next login. And you can also turn it off if you need to set it up again. So the first step is to create our first company. So we go into CRM and then Companies, and click Add, and we can go Example. These are a couple of custom fields which I've added, so I'll explain that in a different video. So companies are effectively your clients, and how you group and manage your agents and your tickets and your billing and everything. So this gives you a nice dashboard as well, and you can see a nice breakdown of all the different things that is set up for the company. But in this video, we will be focusing primarily on the MSP module. So the first step is to install an agent on your computer. So if you click MSP and then download agent, this will open a new tab with the 3 different operating systems that we support. Now, this URL, if you want, you can publish this on your website. And it has an access key here, so that if you don't publish the URL, then no one can download the agent, if you don't want people to have access to it. But otherwise, if you put this link on your website, you can link them straight to this page. So what I will do is I will move over to my Windows virtual machine and install the agent. So we go Windows. And for the first install, it can take a little bit of time, because what it does is it builds you a special MSI file. And this file allows for silent install as well. We've got some scripts that you can use to deploy this via group policy or through PS exec. There's a few ways that you can deploy this. Or you can just upload this file to your website as well, and customers can install it. So before I continue, I will just show you on the MSP dashboard that we have no agents, and if I go into the agents tab, we have no agents. So now let's just double click and we go run anyway. And this creates the background service that runs on the computer. And that's it, it's installed. So we've tried to keep the agent as minimal size as possible, so it's quick and easy to install. Just for your reference, the agent will sit in program files x86 and BlueTrait agent, and this is the agent. Now the actual agent itself is 64-bit as well, so it'll work on both 32 and 64-bit machines. So if we come back over to MSP and go to dashboard, you can now see under our recently added agents that our first agent is now there. You can also see that we've got an agent by company, and it is not assigned to a company. So you can click this tab here and it will show you all the agents that are not set up to a company. So now that the agent's installed, this is the agent's index page where you can filter and search. So let's click into the agent, and then this is the primary dashboard for the agent. So we've got a lot of information here. We try to make it as nice to look at and as easy to show you if there's any issues with the system. So over here we've got the computer name, which you can just click to copy to your dashboard, which is a nice feature. The same with both the LAN IP address or the WAN IP address. We've got the template, which I will explain shortly, when the machine last checked in, the uptime of the computer, when the computer was first added to BluetraitIO, the agent version, which is the version of the software installed on the machine. We then have all of the basic hardware information, including serial number and username and RAM, etc. The dashboard shows you the last hour or so of CPU usage, so this will start populating as the agent collects data. You've got your memory usage. Disk queue length is a great little widget to show you if the I/O performance is being impacted. So if this widget goes yellow or red, it means that the machine has got a fairly long queue of disk operations to perform. And then we've got the recent WAN IP addresses, so you can easily see if a machine is moving around. Quite good too if, for example, a machine is stolen, you can see the last IP addresses of where it has checked into. We've got a schedule restart option where you can pick the time it restarts. And this is where you can run scripts and tasks, which I'll explain shortly. And so then up the top here is where we have the other various modules. So alerts will show you if there are any current alerts, and I'll show you how to configure them shortly. Storage will pull down all of the drives in the computer and show you the size and free space. Network will bring all the network interfaces across. It'll show you the IP addresses of all the interface, what DNS server, what DHCP server, what gateway, and the link speed. This can be very helpful for wireless, and so you can easily see if a machine is not connecting it at the full speed. Now, all of these tabs refresh in the background, and you can see when they were last updated. But if, for example, you want to get the very latest information, you can hit the refresh button here, and that'll take a few seconds to pull back the latest information from the agent. The benefit too is that we store all this data in BlueTrait, so if for some reason the machine is offline, we still have a cache of all of this data, so you'll be able to see a snapshot of the machine before it was turned off or went offline. Services are your Windows services within the machine, so you can easily stop, start, and restart the services, and you can search by services, and you can see if they're running or not. Next is programs. This shows you all the programs installed on the computer, and you can easily filter by install date or name and search. And for supported programs, you can also click this uninstall, and it will uninstall the application from the machine silently in the background. Next is processes. So this is all the applications currently running at the moment on this computer. So if we sort by process ID, this number just increases as new processes run on the computer. So you can see this is the most recent process that started on the machine. You can see CPU time, so how many hours, minutes, and seconds of the CPU have been used on this application. And then again, you can terminate that application if it is causing an issue. So if a client's got a process that's using a lot of memory or CPU, you can kill that from here, and it will kill it silently on their machine, so you don't even have to log in to their computer. The next tab is software updates. So this is for Windows patch management. So I will show you the scheduling of updates, but you can also install updates on a per machine basis by clicking the install updates, and then you can pick which categories to install, but I'll explain this in a little bit more detail later. The next tab is security. So this includes, for Windows desktops, it pulls the antivirus information from the machine, but also managed antivirus is for Bitdefender and WebRoot, and so this allows us to detect alerts from these two applications. For WebRoot, we can detect when the license expires, and there's a few things here. And when you turn on these modules, you get some more options, and I'll explain them in a later video. Users is who is logged on to the machine. So this is particularly useful for terminal servers, but you can also use it for single workstations. And so you can log out the user from here as well. So for example, on a terminal server, it can be very useful if a client's profile or session is stuck. You can click log out here and terminate that session. The next tab is discovery and SNMP. So this has a couple of different features. The discovery is like a basic network scanner. So if you click run discovery, it'll automatically pick up the network range that the client is in, but you can configure any range for it to scan. Now the scan does take about half an hour for a standard subnet size. It is something that we are looking to improve, but it does do quite a lot. So it'll populate with all the IP addresses on the network that it finds, their DNS name, if they've replied to ping or not, the millisecond time for it to reply, the MAC address, and then the message is what it does is it will try and do a port 80 grab for an HTTP server. So it will see if that machine is running HTTP and it will get the title. It'll also check SNMP for a public community as well. So this can be quite useful because it often will pull the information for printers, so you'll know if it's a printer because that'll show up there. Maybe if you've got a NAS on the network, it'll pull the title of the device. Same for various different devices, so that can be quite useful. And finally, we have tasks, and this is where the results of any scripts that you run will show up. So this is a quick overview of the agent system. We can then click edit, and there's a couple of additional features in here. We can change the name of what you want to display the machine as. Templates, which I'll explain shortly. You can assign it to a company, so I'll assign it to an example. And you can set the purchase date and warranty expiry as well here. You can set tags, which are really powerful, and I will show that shortly. And then this is a custom field. You can put as many custom fields on here as you want, which we'll cover in a separate video. So I'll just set the company and save that. So if I go back to MSP and then agents, I can filter by the company and see this. I can say I want to see all offline computers, and as you can see, there are none. And so there's a lot of different searching options that you can do there. So the next section I'll explain is templates. Now, templates are kind of like the policies that you use to determine patch management and rules and alerting and monitoring, and that's where you configure everything. So out of the box, we include two templates, servers and then desktop laptops. They're both configured with some basic policies. We don't configure patch management out of the box because we don't want to be patching your machines without you checking that first. But we do have outage alerts enabled for servers and disk space alerts for both devices. So if I go into servers, you can change these templates if you want. That's fine. You can create as many templates as you need. So the first one is disk space alerting. So you can choose to alert when a drive is either at a percentage full or has less than a certain number of megabytes free. You can, if this alert is triggered, you can then run a job, and I will explain jobs shortly, but that effectively you can get it to clean up your temporary files, for example. Now we've built a very simple PowerShell script that will go and grab all of the folder sizes and create that as a ticket. So that's what the default job is out of the box, and I'll show that to you shortly. And then you can pick, the alert creates a ticket in the ticketing component of the system. And so if you want to create a department in your ticketing system for just automation alerts, you can create a department here. And I'll quickly explain that, but we'll cover the ticketing system in more detail in a separate video. And then you can set the priority there. We've got the same for outage alerts. So if the machine is offline, it will generate an alert. Again, you can make it run a job. And in this case, we've got a basic script that runs that will ping 8.8.8.8. It does a IP config and a trace route when the machine comes back online, so you can just quickly see the network information. And again, you can configure where that alert goes to. For virus alerts, this is for Bitdefender and WebRoot, and so this is if enabled, and we pick up an alert on either of those antivirus products, we will generate a ticket for that machine. The next one is for Bitdefender. If you have Bitdefender enabled, this will automatically install Bitdefender on the machine in this template. The next one is patch management, so we can turn that on. And so with patch management, this will do your Windows updates. So you may just want to install critical updates and security updates. You can set it so that if the machine is offline, when it comes online again, it will automatically patch the machine. So For workstations, you may want that. If people are leaving their machines off at night, it does mean though that when they come back in the morning, it will force them to do a Windows update. And then the next one is you can auto restart the computer after the patches are installed if it's required. It won't reboot the machine if the patches don't require a restart. Next, you can pick if you want this patching to occur daily or weekly. And if it's weekly, you can choose what day you want the patching to occur. And then you can pick the time that you want the patching to start at. So for example, if it's daily and I want it to start at 7 o'clock at night, for example, then that will start at 7 o'clock tonight. The next thing is monitored services. So this will monitor your Windows services and alert you if they are not running or not found. So this is quite useful. So this is the drop down with the service name, and you can start typing in and it will start searching the services. Now this list is populated from the agents. So the more computers that you install, it'll automatically populate this services list. In the brackets is the actual service name, and then at the beginning is just the nice name of the agent of the service. So you can attempt to auto restart the service if you select start on failure, and that will attempt to restart the service. And you can also alert if that service is not found at all. And then you can add as many service monitoring as you allow. And again, you can pick what ticket will be generated based on the service. Now, for all of these alerts, once the issue is resolved, the ticket will be automatically closed. So, for example, if you have a drive space alert and then that is resolved, the ticket will get closed automatically. So it manages itself very nicely. And then finally, in the template is our scripting. So this is where you can schedule scripts to occur on a regular basis. So again, I'll go over the scripts shortly, but we've got that option there, and you can configure them when you want them to run, and you can schedule it if the agent's offline. It'll run the script when it first comes back online, or not. So and again, you can put in as many scheduled jobs and tasks as you like. So one thing I will jump into with tickets very quickly is to get email alerts. So out of the box, it will create a ticket, but you may want to get an email sent to you to say that issue has occurred. So BlueTrait out of the box just includes one default department. And so departments are like groups of users or tickets, and it lets you easily filter them by, maybe you've got like a sales department, a technical department, an automation department. There's a few different ways that you can set that up. But if you go into settings and then tickets, and then scroll down to departments and select default department, and then you want to get an email alert when a ticket in this department is created. By default, everyone is, for the first user, it is that you are an administrator. So we just tick that and hit save. Then if we go into users, we edit the user, and we just make sure that they are a member of the department, and we hit save. And so now whenever a ticket is created in that department, you will get an email alert as well. So that's how you can get an alert if a server has gone offline, for example, and things like that. So just quickly going back to templates, you can create as many as you want. You can turn on patch management for servers, which will be different from workstations, and things like that. Now you can see that the desktop laptop has one agent already. Now I didn't assign the computer to that template. That was done automatically by BlueTrait. So how does that work? We have something called MSP Rules. So we go into settings, and then MSP. Out of the box, we have two MSP rules, desktops, laptops, and servers. So if we go into desktops, laptops, we can see that this rule, if you match any of these three conditions, so the operating system includes the name Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10, the action that we do is we assign the template to desktops, laptops. We can do also the same for servers. And again, if it contains Windows Server, we assign it to the server's template. Now this is pretty powerful, these rules. You can add more rules. We can make it so that the condition has to match all triggers. So for example, if you want to automatically assign agents to a template from a specific customer of yours that they have a static IP address, you can select the WAN address, put in their WAN address, and in the action, we can select company, and we can tag it, we can assign it to that company. So this is quite powerful, and it lets you automatically assign agents to templates or to companies and to tags. Now in future, we do plan on letting you build MSI files that predefine these as well, so that you can give them to your customers to install. But for now, you can do this using the MSP rules. And the MSP rule just runs on the first check-in of the agent. So if you then change that agent's template, that won't get overwritten by these rules. This is just the initial check-in of the agent. So the next thing I will show you is some scripting and scripting and jobs. So a script is in our system called a task, and so that may be a PowerShell script, it may be just a Windows command script. We also have a few built in. So if I go add task, we can pick the type from this drop down here. So for example, we've got create local admin user account. So that'll create a user account on the local computer. So you can put in your username and then the password, and then you can call create user account, and that will create the user account on the machine that it's run on. Otherwise, you can go download file from URL. Now this is useful if you want to do pushing out files to install, for example, when you want to silently install an MSI file. So in here, you would put in your URL where you download the file from. Now, in future, we will have a file repository where you can put in upload files here and push them straight out from BlueTrait. But for now, you'll need to upload them to your web hosting. You just need to put in the file extension. And then what it will do is the file will get downloaded. We generate a unique name, and it will get downloaded to the BlueTrait tools folder. So if I go back over to my virtual machine, in BlueTrait agent, in tools, this is where the file will get downloaded to. Then we may want to, so that's to download the MSI, but now we want to actually run in the install. So what we can do is we go add task, and the type is install MSI. And we just need to put in the file name of what we get from the file that was generated. So if we go into, let me just create one quickly. And then we'll copy this, go add, and then we go create one called install, post that in there. And then what you can do is you run the download task first, and then you run the install task, and that will install that MSI on the computer. Now, if you've got a task like this where there are two to run, you can create something called a job. And a job simply groups tasks together. So if I go add job, and then I can go download and install MSI. Now run manually is the default, and that's where this file won't run unless you've triggered it from a template or you run it manually. But you can have on first check-in, and this will get run on any agent. So maybe you want to put your maybe you've got Screen Connect or another tool that you want to be installed on every machine. You can also pick first check-in. That doesn't stop you from manually running it as well, but for now we'll just go manual run. And in here we can add the tasks. So we can go, we want to download the file first, and then we want to install it, and we go add. And so now we can run the job, and it will run it in this order. So it'll run the download script first, and then it'll wait for that to complete, and then it will run the install script. So now if we, for example, go to our agent, go into here, you can run the download and install, and I'll run it. It won't work because that URL that I put in is not valid, but I can show you anyway. Then if we go into tasks, you will see it adds the 2 tasks here. So received means that the agent endpoint has received the action, and then processed will be once it has processed that task. So if we refresh, you can see that this errored out as we expected because it was a 404 for the file, and so then the run MSI file didn't work because that file didn't exist. So that's exactly what we expect to happen. Now there's a few other things you can do. So if I go into agents, let's say I have 100 agents and I want to run this manually on all servers, for example, I can filter that. I can tick here, and then in this selected agents, I can run the script on bulk machines. So I can also do that. And so that's a very quick rundown of the scripting. We've got a few different scripts types you can run. So for PowerShell, we actually have a little PowerShell wizard here where you can edit PowerShell scripts. So I can show you an example here, and it does some nice color coding. So you can do that directly in here without having to upload a file manually. We also have an option of storing the result on a custom field. Again, I'll cover this later, but you can put a custom field on an agent and then store that output. So maybe you've got a script that captures maybe some license keys from a machine or runs another script. You can put the result onto the agent on the custom field. Now this can get really powerful with tags. So tags are like categories, but you can add as many tags to a machine as you like. In future, we're going to build tags to be very, very powerful, where you can do all of your alerting on tags as well. So the benefit is that you can not have to have so many different templates. You can have a tag for various things. We've only just started on the tags feature, and it already is fairly powerful. So if I jump into agents, this here is a tag. So you can see that it's got a red little circle. Now you can create the name of the tag and the color. You can filter by agents that have tags. When you go into an agent, you can see that it has a tag. You can also edit and add and remove tags manually as well. The benefit of tags, though, is we can create something called a tag rule that also lets you automatically assign tags to machines. So to create a tag, you can go into tags. We can click add. We can go, reboot required as an example. You can pick your color, and then we can go add. And so out of the box, the tag does nothing. It is just there. and you can see it in the list and how many agents are against a tag. But now you can create rules on these tags, and this is where you can automatically put agents into these tags. So out of the box, we have one tag called stale agent. So that's agents that haven't had any check-in for the last 30 days. So if we go edit, this is where you can create your rules. And again, you can create as many rules as you want. But if I go into this rule, you can see here, you can have any or all, and the last check-in is greater than 30 days. So any agent with that rule will get automatically added to this stale tag. But this is very powerful. We've got a whole range of different options that you can do, and we're continuing to build this out. So you could automatically tag an agent if it's got assigned to a certain company. You can auto assign a tag based on the operating system version. You can auto assign a tag based on the output from a custom field. So this you can create a custom field on the agent, create a script on it, and then it'll auto tag the machine based on the result of your PowerShell script. You can tag if there is a specific process on the machine running. You can put if you've got a specific program that's installed. So again, this list just populates from whatever is installed on all your machines. You can do it based on what username. So if you can do a contains and have the domain name there. You can do a tag on what DNS server they've got. So for example, you could do a tag for a company to find all machines that don't have your DNS. They've got a different DNS server set that they shouldn't. Connected users for terminal servers, you can see if a particular terminal server has more than 10 users, for example, connected to it. You can do it based on the warranty, based on the hardware model. Anything basically that you need, you can have a condition on. And we're going to continue to build this tag rules system because we think this is very powerful. And the real benefit of the tags is you can then have scheduled jobs to run on a tag. So for example, you could create a tag that checks if a machine has your Screen Connect software installed on it. And if it doesn't, then you can run your download and install MSI job, and it will automatically install that on the machine. Now, these tag rules you can run manually, but also they run in the background every 15 minutes on the system. So for example, once Screen Connect is installed, the tag rule will no longer apply to that computer, and then it will remove that computer from having that tag. So there's a lot of power there, and we want to build this out further. But in future, we want to put the alerting and patch management on tags as well, so that you can tag various different things you want to an agent without having to have 100 different templates for each customer. So that would be a very powerful feature, and we've got some nice features in the works already that will be out in the next couple of weeks around tags. So that's a very quick overview of BlueTrait and the MSP side of the system. There's obviously a lot more features here that I haven't covered today, but this gives you a quick way to get it up and running, to get patch management turned on, and to start getting some reports back from your machines. So we are continuing to build out various features. We've got a roadmap on the website, we would value your feedback and input, and we will continue to add many features as we grow the product. Thanks for your time. Bye.